Nia's heart pounded as she raced through the darkened alley behind the village's council house. The night was cool and silent, broken only by her fast footsteps and shallow breaths. Ahead, a figure in tattered clothes scurried toward a narrow side street. Without a moment's hesitation, Nia caught up to the stranger. She grabbed him roughly by the arm and spun him around. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice low but fierce. The man's eyes widened in terror as he stuttered, I am just a messenger." Nia's grip tightened. "You will tell me everything you know. Speak, or I will make you." The man gulped. "I was sent by a group, rebels. They hide in the old granary at the edge of the village. They meet in secret." His eyes darted about as if expecting capture at any moment. "They plan more attacks. They say soon it will be time to strike against Jengo and the king." Nia's jaw clenched. "Who is their leader?" she asked, her voice steady. The messenger trembled. "I do not know his name, only that he is one of Kiro's old men." That night marked the beginning of Nia's relentless search. By day, she disguised herself as a humble villager, working in the fields and mingling with the maidens. By night, she would sneak through the narrow streets, listening for hushed voices and secret meetings. She had learned to bribe a few young maidens who worked at the council house, promising them small tokens of gratitude in exchange for whispered confessions and clues. Slowly, she built a network of informants. Every whispered conversation, every furtive glance, and every half-spoken word was noted by Nia. In one quiet courtyard behind a row of mud brick houses, she hid in a dark corner and listened. Two maidens spoke in low voices about a secret meeting in the abandoned barn on the outskirts of the village. One of them said, "I heard that even after the ambush, the rebels are not finished. They are planning something new." The other nodded. Late one evening, as the silver moon rose high in the starry sky, Nia donned a dark cloak and slipped out of her small hut. The village was quiet. She moved quickly along the narrow paths and soon arrived at the old granary. Nia listened closely. She could not catch every word, but she noted the name Baraka mentioned with scorn and even pride by one of the rebels. After their brief meeting, the rebels dispersed into the night. Over the next several nights, Nia worked tirelessly. She followed informants who whispered about secret gatherings. She bribed additional maidens and even managed to overhear a conversation between two older men discussing a planned meeting at the old barn near the river. Every piece of information led her closer to the full extent of the rebel network. Then, one night, as the new moon hid the sky in darkness, Nia decided it was time to act. She gathered her small band of trusted informants, a handful of maidens who owed her favors, a young man who worked in the granary, and even an elderly woman who had once been a warrior. Before dawn, Nia and her group moved silently through the deserted streets toward the abandoned barn by the river. The barn was decrepit and dark, with broken windows and a sagging roof. Inside, several rebels were gathered around a wooden table. They whispered urgently as they planned the next phase of their plot. Nia crept close, and at the signal she had given, her informants surged forward. A scuffle erupted as the rebels were caught completely off guard. One of the rebels, a burly man with a booming voice, fought fiercely. Nia leaped forward and tackled him, pinning him to the ground. "Who sent you?" she demanded, her eyes burning with anger. The man grunted and refused to speak, so one of her informants held his arms while she pressed her blade to his throat. Under the threat of the cold metal, the rebel finally stuttered out, "It was not I alone. There are others. They are hiding in the market square and the fields beyond." His words spilled out in desperation as Nia's group tied him up and dragged him outside. By sunrise, more rebels were taken into custody. Nia oversaw the arrests with a stern but steady gaze. She interrogated each prisoner herself. Her methods were simple but firm. "Tell me the names," she said to one man, "or you will suffer until you do." Though the interrogation was harsh, Nia believed that the fate of the village and the safety of Jengo demanded it. Every new piece of information was a step toward ensuring that no more rebels would harm her brother or their people. As the days passed, she handed over the prisoners to trusted Maasai guards, and word of her actions spread through the village. Jengo, though still recovering from his earlier wounds, heard about Nia's daring acts. He visited her at the healing hut where she slept lightly in a small room near the central compound. He sat by her side, his eyes filled with gratitude and pride. "You have done more than protect me," he said quietly. "You have saved us all." Naya looked up at her brother, her face softening. "I could not let them hurt you, Jengo. You are the future of our people, and I must be your keeper. No one shall threaten our home while I am here." Her words were simple, but they carried the weight of her promise.